So, moving on to the particle options tab, you'll notice here in the last video we had our three objects here. We also now have those three objects over here. And we have a list of settings here for each one. So we can adjust the scale ranges for each one. So for example, I could say I want this guy to scale a minimum of 0.8 to 1.2. Rotations for the X, Y, and Z, and then minimum on top and then maximum on, maximum on bottom. So I could say like -5, -5, 5, and then 5, and then this will rotate a minimum of 5 degrees in the X, and Z, -5 to 5. The normal weight down here, this is how much the objects will constrain themselves to the normals of the surface. So for example, if I just go ahead and scatter these really quick. Give this a second to wake up. Okay, there it goes. And then if I turn the display bounding boxes off, you'll see how all these objects are sort of pointing in the direction that they're scattered on. If we set this to a value of 0.1, for example, on all of these, and then scatter again, you'll notice that all these objects are actually starting to point straight up. So that's what the normal weight does. It's mainly important for things like trees, where they'll sort of grow straight up regardless of the slope that they are growing on. So useful for that. And then of course, this is a range, so you can blend it. Let's say you want it to be half constrained to the normal and the other half, it's trying to point straight up. So yeah, so you have all these options on a per object basis. And then also over here you have a weight. So this can be a value of from 0 to 100. And basically what this says is, so if I have this says I want to scatter this object 20 more times than this and this. An easier way of thinking about this is, let's say you have like a bucket of tickets and you throw, everybody has different tickets and you'll throw it into the bucket. This is the number of tickets that you're throwing in for this particular object. So this guy gets 20, this guy gets 1, this guy gets 1. So basically what that means is this is 20 times more likely about to spawn than these guys are. So yeah, there's all those options. And then of course, going through and setting all these options one by one, if for each one of these could be quite cumbersome. So if you have like a lot of objects in here that are all like, let's say small clumps of grass or something, and you want them to have relatively all the same settings, what you can do is, you can see over here we have these buttons. If you press them, they switch from red to green. What these correspond to is the options down here. So you also have these options here to where I can select all, select none. And then you can see we have all the same options here as we do up here. So I can say 0.8, 1.2, normal weight of 0.1. And then if I go ahead and press apply attributes to selection, you'll see all these get updated with whatever settings I have here. So for example, if I just turn that off, you can see I can now edit the scales on all these. So yeah, just a quick way of being able to edit all these. And then of course you can go in here, let's say you don't want this one to have the same settings as these guys, you can just turn this off, change this to 180, press apply. This one gets unaffected. The other ones that are green, they get changed to whatever the settings are here. Just a quick way to set the settings on all these different objects. And then of course, once you go over here, so I'll make a bigger change here. And then make this guy slightly more active. And then scatter. You can see now, we get all those variations in the objects. Cool. So that pretty much does it for the Particle Options tab. The Lite version of the tool, you'll only pretty much see these settings here, and those settings will apply to every single object the same. That is a limitation that I've put on the Lite version of the tool. So if you're using that, you'll pretty much only see these options here. But essentially they work the same as what you notice here. All right, cool. Thanks. Next we'll move on to the masking tab. I'll see you there. All right, thanks.